Welcome to the Fazbear Entertainment training video of a tutorial of how to wear a Springlock suit. If you don't know what a Springlock suit is, a Springlock suit is not as both an animatronic costume but wearable costume. The costume can switch between suit mode and costume mode by twisting the hand crank on the back of the torso. According to the diagram, the Springlock suit has four main engineering parts of how Springlocks usually work. There's a hand crank that pulls the Springlock animatronic parts back. The spring locks inside can make the springs lock in place and tighten, and it will be turned into costume mode. However, if you want it back into suit mode on land, the hand crank can make the spring locks untightened and release the animatronic parts to its neutral state. Here's a quick demonstration of how spring locks actually work with four main components. Be cautious of the fact that if you do release the spring locks while you're inside, if you've got all of the basics and know what a Springlock suit is, you are moved on to the next step, how to wear a Springlock suit. Welcome to Parts and Service. If you have finished your lesson on how Springlocks usually work, you are allowed to move on to the next step and learn all of the basics of a Springlock suit. For your lesson today, you will learn how to dismantle parts on the spring body animatronic Springlock suit when wearing the costume on. And do what you need to do with wearing the Springlock suit. What we need for today is a high-pressure hand crank. This model is compatible for the mouth of the spring body animatronic. As shown in the tape, as you can see we have a model of spring body mouth with active spring locks. We will use this one as we go. The first step to this method is that we need to use the high-pressure hand crank. This is what you need to turn your Springlock suit into costume mode and removing the spring locks with a high-pressure hand crank. What we'll actually have to do is that we'll need to use spring body's head. We will then attach the high-pressure hand crank on the back of spring body's head. Keep in mind that the high-pressure hand crank is 6 kilograms of weight and 13.2277 pounds. First, attach the hand crank at the back of spring body's forehead and wind up the hand crank clockwise. This will make the spring locks lock in place and it should be tightened and turned into costume mode. Great job! You have now turned your Springlock suit into costume mode and you are ready to put in your Springlock costume. Next, we'll need to dismantle the animatronic parts on the suit. But before you do that, make sure that the spring locks are tightened and locked in place. It is good to double check on the spring locks for safety reasons. First thing to dismantle a Springlock suit is to remove both arms from under and precisely until it is completely removed. If you manage to remove both arms safely, great job, you are now moved on to the next step. Next, remove both the torso and the head. There are two sides on the torso and the head which connects to the suit which makes the animatronic suit connected to each other. Dismantle both the head and the torso and split it apart precisely and possibly in general.